The truth is that the AI doesn't represent the artificial intelligence of the nature of the intelligence of these computers, but rather the artificial intelligence inside of people.
That is a good point. I'm probably going to bring my hair out on that one. And I just got a haircut.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Magger from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf.
And we have 21 topics to get through today because it's been quite a while since we recorded, which I apologize for, but unfortunately it took Tabby quite a while to get his recording over sent to me, and then I had to re-edit the episode all over again because I'm movie freaked out, which I guess is a great segue into our first topic, which is that I finally bought the real Final Cut Pro.
Nice. And it is now I'm just realizing I don't have my iPad with me for the list of topics. Whoops. Where'd you go? You're over here somewhere. Right here.
Yeah, so far I really like using Final Cut Pro for editing, and I like the ability to edit my videos in HDR.
I usually prefer not to use the HDR setting because the second you go outside, it's nothing but whitewash.
Well, I don't normally film outside, so it works. I just like playing around with all the new stuff in Final Cut Pro.
So yeah, how does it feel to have an actual professional grade editor now?
So far, I like it a lot, and I can't wait to use it for editing more episodes of TIFP and editing more of my YouTube videos.
Yep.
All right, shall I move on to our... Well, actually, that was my 10th plan topic, but shall I move on to our first plan topic, which is that... Has it ever been your dream to inspire others?
I mean, I'd say for me, kind of, yeah.
Well, you remember how I appeared on your old podcast, the Random Alpha Podcast, back in January 2022, and then 2 months later... I created my own podcast, and you were at first just one of the first guests on it until the Random Alpha Podcast went downhill, and then you went on our podcast.
Yeah, in case, I don't think I actually brought this up here, but if anyone wanted to check out my old podcast, guess what? Sorry, no episodes available because of a massive complication on my end. So as a result, I had to unlist literally every single episode. Well, I didn't have to technically unlist every single one, like the one I did with Drew or with you the couple times, but
yeah, the two of them with me. But,
it just didn't make sense.
At this point, we've done more episodes with you on the show than you ever did your own podcast. So
yeah. Oh well.
But getting back on topic, our most recent guest was Ramin from Ramin's Tech. And he from the UK, and he has since done, and he was our last guest on the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. And you want to know what he's done since then?
I saw you messaged it in the group chat.
Yes, he has since created his own podcast called The News Widget, and guess who got to be his first guest?
Oh, you did?
Yes, I'm actually on the second episode of it. So it's been 3 episodes so far, and he does it with Joseph from Joseph 58 Tech.
Nice.
So
it's a shame that he's in the UK because I'm always doing something at 2.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't. I can only appear. I can only do these collaborations with him in the summertime.
Well, yeah, you'd be in school.
Well, I guess this is actually a great segue into one of our other topics while we're at it. Although, speaking of, even though the first episode actually resembles this podcast a lot in terms of format, but later on, they've since changed it quite a lot, but still...
They're finding their niche. That's the case
topic.
with everyone. Everyone always has to find their niche on how they do it.
Kind of like how a lot of the early episodes of TIFP were based off of your old podcast.
Essentially.
Alright, but getting back on to our next topic that we're moving on to. Let me go out and get it really quickly.
Where did that fan go? Which one of them took it?
I'm back. Let me just do something really quickly, but since I've already registered for this upcoming school year at my school, yes, I have my iPad knife generation back.
Oh, nice. Still no
If it's
10th
same
gen?
case, and yeah, I have the exact. And I have the exact same iPad back too, because it has all my data on it.
Oh, really?
But this is all, yeah. This is also a great segue into one of my other topics, which is that I also got a Logitech crayon for it. Which, hang on, let me power this stupid thing on. Or it's not. I actually like how this is a metal build, unlike the Apple Pencil. Please feed us.
But why no Apple Pencil?
Alright, so remember back when my Apple Pencil got stolen?
Sort of not.
So my Apple Pencil first generation that I got for this, it got stolen. It basically got stolen, so as a result, I couldn't really, or I didn't necessarily want to use it. So as a result, I didn't want to buy another Apple Pencil first generation just to have it stolen again. Because I wanted something cheaper, but I was still not cheap Chinese crap. So as a result, I got this, which if you saw in my YouTube video, as you can tell, this Logitech crayon works great. And this is also a great segue into one of our other topics, which is that, yes, I am going back to school, actually, this upcoming Wednesday, which hopefully this episode of my podcast will be out before then.
Oh my goodness. I still don't know why they start this early.
It's that way you can get out earlier, because especially here in the southeast, it's very unreasonable to be in the... the weather's a lot more reasonable in May and June than it is in July and August.
Makes me wonder, what is Asheville or Charlotte like at this time of year in terms of temperatures?
Actually, I know in July. Actually, I know Ethan from Apple Maniac YT, who was a former guest on this, who's been a 2-time guest on this podcast. He actually lives in Asheville, and I know he still goes to. I believe his
he actually
schedule
lives
is
there?
from September to June. Yeah.
Why did nobody tell me? Oh my goodness.
I just thought you knew.
No, I didn't. All I knew he was in somewhere in North Carolina. That was it.
Oh man.
Goodness gracious, you guys. What? Well, there goes that.
You wanted to meet him, didn't you?
I mean, I'd like to meet some people, so that way I'd have an idea of who was there. Because if I'm considering moving to Asheville, then I don't know. I'd like to meet some people there, and if he's there, why not? Oh well.
Well, I don't actually know if he still watches his podcast or not, but maybe he'll be interested. I don't know though.
Who knows? All I know is it's currently 81 degrees there and at a high of 87.
Alright, so just getting back on topic to how going back to school is going to affect this podcast. I have recently, as many of you guys know, I have recently become the new editor of the show. And so beforehand, I was able to get episodes out relatively quickly, assuming everybody gets their recordings to me on time. However, because my school obviously decreases a lot of my time to do this kind of stuff, and my YouTube channel has to get top priority after school work because I make money off of my YouTube videos. Basically, producing this podcast is going to be a lot slower.
Well, hey, come 2025, I think my schedule will finally start to clear up.
Or it'll at least be a little slower. I don't know. I'll have to see how slow it will be, since I found out that since I'm going back to the same school this year for the first time in 5 years that I went to last year. As a result, I know basically what my schedule is going to be like, and hopefully I won't have too much homework. Again, I'll knock on wood because I don't know that, but as long as I have a normal amount of homework and such, then I should be good to keep working on the show.
Yep.
But episodes will probably just be slower, but we've beaten that horse to death, so how about I'll just go ahead and put this iPad back, and then we'll move on to our next topic.
You could just set it on the desk for now.
That's a good idea.
All right, what is the next topic? Because we have been all over your list at the moment.
This time we'll probably be in order, so... The next topic is that iOS 18.1 Beta 1 has launched with Apple Intelligence as beta, and Tabby Cat 406, who is not in this episode because he's helping one of his friends paint one of his friends' room. As a result, on Apple, he has tested out Apple Intelligence, and he can definitely say that it's not really very special at all. And I'd have to agree, even though I haven't used it.
It's like what did anybody expect though? It's just marketing BS these days. Because seriously, when you actually think about all of the things that it can do, it's like Vision. I'm getting so many Vision Pro vibes with this. It's like, what would you actually use this for? In the real world, what would you actually use this for?
It's not really anything. I mean, you can use it to cheat on your schoolwork, which I've caught a lot of my classmates doing.
You could also use it for illegal activities like scamming. Oh wait,
yeah.
Haven't I mentioned that how many times now?
Yeah, you've mentioned that a lot.
Yeah, it's like the actual good things that you would use this for. There's not really anything you can use this for good. It seems like the number one reason to use this is to deceive.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, AI is not new technology because, hang on, let me grab it.
Yep, the keyboard.
The first iPhone on firmware iPhone on firmware 1.0 from 2007 has artificial intelligence.
Yep, with the keyboard. I use quote-unquote artificial intelligence on the occasion for trying to program complex geometries for CNC machines.
Yeah, I think the difference between the artificial intelligence, like with keyboards, and this new AI marketing BS that I'm actually going to make fun of in my video that's releasing tomorrow, but you all already know what it is.
I'm probably just going to stop calling it AI altogether and just from here on out just call it BS.
But I think it should be called AI, and here's why. The truth is that the AI doesn't represent the artificial intelligence of the nature of the intelligence of these computers, but rather the artificial intelligence inside the people who create
That is a
tools.
good point. Oh my goodness.
That's why it's called artificial intelligence.
That when you look at it, the intelligence that they do have to offer, I mean, sometimes it's impressive, but when it comes to getting raw facts and raw detail, whoo, she don't look very bright. She don't look very intelligent at all.
That's why it's called artificial intelligence, but
literally,
we've beaten the AI.
That whole thing, the whole reason that name exists is just so we can joke around with it and beat it to death.
Yep. How about we move on to something useful that Apple just released in beta?
Ooh, a web app service for maps.
Yes. There is an Apple Maps web beta.
So that means I can finally use
Apple Maps on anything.
I can finally use Apple Maps graphics for PlugShare on my Mac. Because I can't do that at the moment. It just goes to Google Maps. Then again, it might take away the Street View functionality. I don't know. Because Apple Maps sucks.
The Apple Maps Street View?
No, on PlugShare on the web, when you go to the website in Safari on the Mac, it uses Google Maps for its maps data. But baked into it, it also has the Google Street View functionality. Except Apple Maps is really bad when it comes to Street View data because, let me see, where does it have Street View data?
Washington, D.C., New York, Los Angeles, basically only big cities.
Yeah, anything that's a metropolitan area, basically. Anything short of that, why bother? Who cares? Gosh, I hate how Apple only focuses on the bigger cities and basically nothing else.
Oh, so do I. Like how there's a lack of Apple stores in literally everywhere.
Why do I have to travel 6 hours for the closest one? I mean, it was nice thinking when I was in Asheville, okay, the closest store was 2 hours from me. That's okay. I'll take 2 hours rather than 6, but still, that's... I mean, Asheville's not even that small either, so... I mean, it's not like a big city.
Yeah, it's the...
It has its own interstate bypass.
Yeah, and it has its own regional airport. It has... I mean, it even has... I mean, it has everything. It's the largest city in western North Carolina, and is technically its own metropolitan area.
And it's a major tourist attraction. Meaning that some people are probably going to, I don't know, drop and break their phones when they're trying to take a picture, or maybe lose it off a mountain cliff or something like that, which is a very big possibility there, actually, considering how mountainous the area is. And so, yeah, things are likely to break, and I don't know, it'd be kind of convenient if there was an Apple store in town instead of it having to drive 2 hours to Charlotte.
That is a good point.
It'd also be nice to have an Apple store closer to me, like, I don't know, okay, I get it, I'm in a remote area, but why not the closest larger city, like Wausau, Wisconsin, or Green Bay? Why are there no Apple stores there?
They have an NFL team in Green Bay, but no Apple store?
Yes! There's no Apple store in Green Bay!
Oh my... Why, Apple? Why? And like, I don't even live in that remote of an area, and yet I still have to go like an hour out to my closest Apple store, which is ridiculous.
That's insane.
No one should have to go that far for an Apple store.
And yet that's the only
Especially
place
not
where
6
Apple wants to
hours.
build them. They only want to do it in metropolitan cities.
I'll bet you they could... I mean, there are some remote areas that they build them like in California, but I mean, come on.
It'd be nice if we had one in Marquette.
When will Apple find... When will Apple finally start expanding their stores?
I mean, I guess the number one reason why they have their stores, I guess, is to get everyone in the store to experience the products for themselves. Though, for me, the number one reason why I want a store close by is I want access to the Genius Bar. I hate mailing my stuff in.
That's why most people... Yeah, a lot of people would probably like to not have to mail their stuff in because... I mean, I had to literally wait until summer vacation started for me just to go to my local Apple store to try on a Vision Pro.
Same here. I had to wait how many months until I could go on a trip all the way to North Carolina just to try it on?
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I've already made a video on this. Why am I rambling about this now?
No,
when we have
right?
more topics to cover.
It's dumb. It's so dumb that Apple just chooses. Nope. If you're outside the metropolitan area, I guess you don't matter. Screw you.
All right, shall I move on to something great that Ohio is doing?
They added the state ID, driver's license, whatever you want to call it.
They finally add that ability and option in Apple Wallet.
Great. So we've now got 10% of the nation. Is it 10%? Yeah, I think it's 10%. 10% of the nation on board with the digital license thing.
Yeah, that's I mean, Ohio. I mean, it's great for people in Ohio.
You know, I'm still surprised California doesn't have this yet.
Especially because Apple's based in
know,
California.
Right? That is the most ridiculous thing. And I talked to Drew and Randy about this on Twitter. We were discussing the whole Ohio just getting it. And I'm like, I point out, why does California not have it? And Drew tells me California does allow digital IDs, but it has to be through their app.
Jeez.
Okay, I guess whatever works. Just, oh my goodness. And
Come on, the rest of the United States, let's get on board with this.
I thought Gretchen was supposed to get Michigan on board with this, like, right away. Oh, wait, what good has she done this state? Oh, I better shut up now.
Yeah. You know that Gretchen actually established a speed limit on a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit on the highway on Mackinac Island with no cars.
I don't even know how you break that, because like the only people who
How do you break a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit when there's no cars?
bicycles can't go that fast. The only vehicles on there that can go that fast are the emergency vehicles, and they're of course going to ignore it when there's an emergency. So, oh my goodness. I really hate our governor, and the majority of the state hates her too. Just so you know.
I'm not surprised, but
Ugh.
how about we move on from a bad state government to a good one who unfortunately is not adding the digital ID to Apple Maps yet. Or Apple Wallet, excuse me.
What's this topic?
Texas is prohibiting Meta from collecting as much user data as they do.
Oh?
Yep.
Oh, you mean Texas recognizes that people have a right to privacy?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, Mark is gonna hate this one. Mark's gonna hate this one, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Have you seen how Mark Zuckerberg has tried to make himself look younger via kind of making his hair a little more fluffy and sort of getting a perm? I think he might have actually gotten a perm, and he's also wearing a necklace now to look young and hip.
He just looks weird and creepy. It doesn't matter how he dresses himself. He just looks weird and creepy.
He really does.
Like, what that one video on he posted, was it actually on, where did he post it? I don't know, but he posted the video where he's riding a surfboard or something, taking a...
He did not do that.
I know, right? And he still looked completely weird doing it.
Mark Zuckerberg looks weird doing everything, but shall we move on to another bad company? Speaking of Meta, except they're not Meta.
OpenAI, what's this? Ooh.
Oh,
Oh dear.
OpenAI is actually, well, they might actually be doing something good, but OpenAI is soft launching SearchGPT, which is a new search engine.
I mean, here's the thing. If there's one good use case that we could use artificial intelligence for, it could be for searching stuff up. It's just, the problem is it's the library that it's trained on. It's not good at gathering new data, so it often gives you old and inaccurate results, and that's why a lot of people just can't use it, because a lot of the information it gathers is just, well, it's not up to date or accurate.
Yeah, I personally think that that SearchGPT, I like the idea of it because I like being able to search things online easier because it's a little hard to search for things, niche things online.
It's like this
so
actually has a good
hopefully
concept.
SearchGPT.
This has a good concept.
This is actually this is a better concept than falling in love with with a romantic AI like they were doing a few months ago, which that's a segue into one of our next topics.
Oh gosh, I'm probably gonna rip my hair out on that one. And I just got a haircut. But
so did I.
Oh, nice.
Or mine was actually a week or two ago.
But in general, I can see this is a good concept. This actually is a good concept. I'm scared for the execution.
Yeah.
I also just hope it doesn't develop a bias.
Oh, well, Google Search and DuckDuckGo both have biases,
Yeah, that's
so, you
unfortunate.
know.
I see Elon pointed out enough, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've tested it, too. Alright, now we have moved on to I don't know what you call this, but it's the Friend AI necklace. And let me just explain what this is. So this is a necklace an AI-powered necklace, which really is just a Bluetooth microphone that connects to your phone. That's $99. And the idea is that it constantly listens into all your surroundings and basically gives you an input. And basically gives you input on everything to sort of be like your best friend of sorts.
Gosh. There's so much about this device. I just don't understand. I have no clue who actually thought this was actually a good idea. So, from a hardware perspective, all it is basically a pill with a battery, a wireless connection, and a microphone. Can you think of anything else that happens to have a battery, a wireless connection, and a microphone? These things! Why do you need a separate hardware device for something like this? Especially because especially because that thing is mostly piggybacking off your phone anyways.
Yeah, oh, and the Rabbit R1 is literally just, like, its software is revealed to just be an Android APK.
So, yeah, from a hardware perspective, this device does not need to exist. It physically does not need to exist. If you want something, you could save so much money by just making an app for the phone.
On top of that, the Friend AI thing, like, it's just like we've already gone to this of OpenAI's romantic AI thing, but this is just gonna make more people lonely because there's no comparison to an interaction with a human friend. There is not.
I don't even think this is going to make people feel more lonely. I think it's going to make them regret spending $99 because from what I've at least seen from the trailers,
those people don't even seem interested.
It is terrible at even imitating being a friend. It's like the one ad where it was showing up the guy's playing games with his real, actual friends, and then his AI friend thing comes in to say, "Hey, dude, you suck."
Oh my. Why would anybody spend $100 on something that's just going to intimidate them?
Genuinely asking here, what kind of friend says that?
Not real friends.
I'll give you a hint.
But
a really bad one. And trust me, I've had plenty of them to know. So, just watching this thing in action, and I think they have completely forgotten the point of advertising when they made these advertisements in the first place. They're supposed to show off why you should buy this product. All they have done, literally 100% of every single ad that they've made, all it does is show you why you shouldn't buy this product.
On top of that, this guy, I've actually looked up the founder. His name is Avi on his Twitter page, and so from what I can tell about him, like he's based in San Francisco, so you know he's probably in the Silicon Valley area.
Yep.
And I think, and you know I think his theory is that he's just literally just gonna make an overprice a normal product and call it an AI product and build a cheap app and make it seem cool just so that way he can make money. And a good way to tell this guy is clearly just following trends is because, unfortunately, another trend that I see way too much of at school is boys bleaching their hair blonde. And guess what the founder of Friend is AI has done to his hair.
Oh yeah, you can tell this guy has had a problem making friends in the past, especially because he's trying to be all trendy and cool. And I don't know about you guys, but I am so anti-trendy. I own it and I live it, and you know what? I am happy I don't follow so many trends.
So am I.
But yeah,
and you can tell the guy.
You can tell this guy clearly had a problem making friends, and I think he's just doing what people who are desperate for friends are doing, just trying to be trendy once again.
I don't think it's gonna work. In fact, it's gonna make him the enemy.
Honestly, can we actually call this a scam?
I think we can.
I think so
the
too.
Rabbit R1. I think the Rabbit R1 Humane AI pen. I mean, you're technically paying for the hardware. Like, I believe those are technically fairly priced. Not the Friend necklace, which, mind you have to wait until 2025.
Yeah, and it's even on their ads, it's not performing as advertised. Like, if it's advertisements are like one of the easiest way to make your products look great. Why? Because you don't have to show it doing the real thing. Like, these are simple text messages. That's not hard to edit. And yet somehow they managed to even fail at making the product look good. It just looks like a giant scam for those who are desperate for friends.
I would say I would have to agree with you on that one, but shall I move on to our next topic, which is that, or actually I have one more note about the Friend AI thing, which is that the founder Avi, like you can also tell from his hair on his Twitter profile picture that I think he's also gotten a perm, which again was another trend at my school for a little while.
I don't even know what that is because I don't even care.
A perm? You don't know what a perm is?
Nope. I don't care.
A perm is basically when you curl. Is basically a chemical formula that you can put inside your hair to make naturally straight hair appear curly.
Yeah.
That is what a perm is.
I really don't.
All right, shall we move on to another scam or a bad company?
I want to say this isn't a scam. This is
it's a massive blue screen.
It's a disaster would be an understatement for what happened here.
So basically, I think this disaster is blaming the wrong people, but remember how we were trashing Windows in our last episode?
Well, I mean, could we send some of the blame to Microsoft? Absolutely. But do they deserve all of it in this instance? No, absolutely not. But in my opinion, they still should get some because, again, something like this wouldn't necessarily happen if you designed your operating system correctly to begin with. So.
Alright, so even though we were trashing Windows, believe it or not, that was recorded before the CrowdStrike Windows outage.
Yes. Gosh.
We have since... The CrowdStrike Windows outage has since happened on a Friday, and as a result, the CrowdStrike has sent $10 Uber Eats gift cards to their partners for apologizing, since CrowdStrike is basically an antivirus that, for those of you who don't know, CrowdStrike is an antivirus that a lot of enterprises use.
Which would explain why I was not able to clock in or out or manage any of my hours that particular day.
But it had an update that basically caused all the Windows computers running it to blue screen.
Goodness.
And so now the CEO of CrowdStrike must testify to the U.S. Congress.
What a massive blunder. Like, I don't know whether to feel bad for them or to be mad at them because, on one hand, mistakes happen. Okay, they happen. Mistakes happen. But to let this big of a mistake just slip by you without any testing whatsoever, that is not professional at all.
And I mean, technically, Microsoft shouldn't have designed Windows like that in the first place. And so, I think Windows should be Microsoft should be definitely getting sued for this too.
Yeah, I mean, they should have been sued how many times now because of how bad their OS is. So
they should have been sued from the. Well, actually, they did get sued in the very beginning because. Do you have how many times have I mentioned that MS DOS was initially a ripoff of another operating system?
I think that list is so long it's not even worth counting.
Yeah.
It's just wow.
This
is such a massive. Oh, Drew! Now you start the stream. Gosh, bad timing. He's doing a members only editing stream. That's. So, I'll probably miss that by the time we're done with this, but oh well. We'll both get to see the video once it's done.
All right, but the CrowdStrike window. Do you have any more thoughts about CrowdStrike, or shall we move on to our next topic?
I'm grateful that it didn't affect my business completely. Like, none of our computers blue screen, but one of the services that we use does use this CrowdStrike antivirus on their back end, and that's how I wasn't able to clock in at all. That's how I was not able to manage my hours. So thank goodness my computer didn't blue screen, or any other computers, especially the machines. Oh my gosh, would that have been really bad.
I was completely unaffected by the CrowdStrike issue because it's summer vacation, so I have nothing to do at school, and even then, and I don't use, and even on my Windows computers I do have, I don't have CrowdStrike software on them, and
it's like, do you even use Windows typically in the first place?
No.
So it's like, of course not.
Just wow. I was one of the few people who wasn't affected by that.
Yeah, this is bad. It makes me wonder, what do you think people are going to do? Are they going to switch antiviruses, or are they also going to switch operating systems as well, knowing how easily Windows can be attacked like that?
I mean, I would say that's definitely worth more enterprises looking into Macs at this point, because Mac Minis, especially at this point, are getting cheaper. I mean, the new Mac Mini is only $600, and it's just like Windows can easily get attacked like this, you know.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, there are more viruses out there to get Windows and not Mac for very obvious reasons.
And it's not just because macOS is it's not just because more people use Windows, so they design so they design more malware to run on Windows because it's the majority, but also because macOS is just built to not have as many vulnerabilities.
That's because Apple actually cares about making an actually decent operating system. But
yeah, something that Microsoft doesn't.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder, are people going to actually now start considering Mac? Because there's a few things that I've been thinking about, especially discussing with my grandpa. He's grown to be more okay with the existence of Apple products. He still teases me about them every now and then, but he's been getting to grow a little more okay with the existence of Apple products and acknowledging their strengths. And this was an instance where, yeah, he definitely acknowledged Apple's strength because their operating system is so locked down, it's harder to hack, and you don't see stupid crap like this. unless you're me. Just
Like for
how long ago was it? Like 45 minutes ago when my Mac restarted due to an OBS update.
Yeah, speaking of the CrowdStrike issue, or like for example on MDM locked Apple devices like my iPad 9th generation, my local schools district actually has the authority to set wallpapers on there, which is actually why I had to have to make sure to change my wallpaper before showing it online, just because. Just because it shows my, well, not only shows my legal name, but also shows just what school I go to, which that's not even information I want you or Tabby to know.
Don't we know your legal name though?
Not my school though. Yeah. I've mentioned that I'm Theodore Maggart, but I've never mentioned my middle name online. I have no intentions on doing so.
Honestly, who cares about the middle name?
I don't think many people do.
Like, for example, my online, I don't know, pen name, alias, character, whatever you want to call it, there's no middle name for that. So.
Well, it's also because everybody knows that Alpha Day Wolf is not real.
Precisely. So. Yeah, this CrowdStrike blunder is so baffling. And it really just goes to show how we've said it so many times. It's like, how much more proof do you need? Anywho.
All right, shall I move on? Speaking of things crashing, shall I move on to our next topic now?
Let me see what. Oh. Yeah, that's a bad one. That's a really bad one right here.
So remember in one of our past episodes we were talking about how Intel's 13th and 14th generation CPUs were crashing?
Apparently they were also catching themselves on fire as well, if I recall.
Well, they failed to find the issue of why they're crashing.
Of course they did.
But they're catching on fire?
Yeah, a lot of users have reported that it's their 13th and 14th gen processors. Somehow there was some update that came through, and all of a sudden they're now overheating and catching fire.
Oh, they're gonna have to do a recall.
Yeah, it bad. It real bad.
It bad?
Oh. I knew one of these days.
I think bad's an understatement.
Yeah, I knew one of these days Intel's heat problems, their thermal problems, were going to catch up with them at some point, and here they are.
And it caught on fire with them.
Aren't you so grateful to no longer have those chips in your laptop?
Oh, you have no idea how much of a fun feeling it is to have an Apple Silicon Mac.
No fans, unless you're doing what... Actually, it's so hot in here, my Mac is actually turning the fans on, but that's because it's hot in here, so not much you can do.
And my room's actually relatively cool, so my Mac's fans aren't really on.
Hey Siri, what's the temperature in here? It just completely gave up. What is the temperature in here?
It's 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the office.
Is there air conditioning in your office?
Nope.
Why didn't they think of that when they put that, why didn't your parents think of that when they redid your room?
Because for the number of times it gets this hot in the summer, it just doesn't justify the cost of electricity and general installation. Yeah, there's actually a lot of houses here in general. The majority of them do not have air conditioning.
Yeah, I think, and in fact, another reason why schools need to actually wait to start a lot later is because a lot of schools don't have air conditioning, so therefore they wait until it's cold enough to the point where they don't have to they can start without it. Since when does school generally start up in the UP?
For up here, it typically starts literally the day after Labor Day. It's always the day after Labor Day.
Yeah, in Minnesota, I know they do that too. Because, for example, where I live, which I'm not going to say where in the southeast it is, but where I live, the school usually. Well, it starts early. It starts well.
One thing though is that doesn't make much
Well,
sense to
at
me
least where I
because
live, it starts
August is
in
like the hottest
August.
month of the year. So that would be when AC
The
is
reason-
on at max.
However, I think the only reason why they start in August anyway is just because I mean, you're gonna need air conditioning until sometimes you even need air conditioning in November in the southeast, but sometimes you don't. Like there are some days even in November and some very rarely December, January, February, to the point where, and especially in September and May and April, like you need air conditioning, and so it makes like you have to have air conditioning anyway. So I suppose they figure that you might as well just get, at least in my area, just get out to have summertime during most of the more reasonable months.
I suppose. But yeah, if I really need to cool off, I just go to the basement. It's always cold down there, no matter what the temperature is up here.
There's always some rooms that are usually cold
So,
in the house or warm in the house. Like my room's usually one of the warmest in the house.
I would think your house at least has to have air conditioning, consider where you live.
Oh yes, it does.
That's good.
My house.
But yeah, not
Yeah,
here.
there's no getting away with no.
Not here. It's just
There's no getting away. In the south, you do not get away without air conditioning.
yeah. I don't know how people deal with like, especially in Arizona, like one of the hottest places in the nation. I don't know how people live there in the summer.
They have things called pools.
Well, how do they work and
And
do
air
their outdoor
conditioning.
chores and such?
I mean, there's not really grass in Arizona, so you don't exactly have to go out and mow the lawn.
Oh well, what about exercise or?
They have gym. There's gyms.
Yes. So I guess it's just not a thing for people to be outside in Arizona.
I've never been to Arizona, so I don't know.
Yeah, neither am I. The closest I might get next year is in Utah.
Yeah, I heard that you're going to you might be going to Utah.
Yeah, it's not certain, guys. Like the North Carolina trip was 100% planned. This Utah trip is a potential thing. Me and one of my friends, who actually you'll get to meet him in a future drive video. Actually, we're both planning a trip to head to Utah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
I've never been there.
especially when we go down I-70 at 80 miles an hour.
Oh boy, that's gonna be fun. As in most of the southeast, except for a few exceptions that I can think of, the maximum speed limit is 70, and the only places where it's higher than that is in Arkansas. The default speed limit, unless you're a truck with 3 axles,
wanna say, wasn't it
is
75 there?
miles per hour. Yeah, and in Louisiana on parts of I-49, it's also 75, but otherwise it's 70 in the rest of the southeast. Unless it's really unsafe.
Yeah, you travel in the state of Michigan, I-75 is 75 miles an hour.
Michigan is actually one of 2 states east of the Mississippi that allows 75-mile-an-hour speed limits on interstates.
Just hope you have really good suspension. That's all. Gosh, our roads up here suck.
When I did interstate driving, I did 75 most of the way, so that's a really.
Yeah.
I guess should we get back on top of
Good
that?
point. What were we talking about? Intel burning themselves alive or something?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, let's see. Intel failed to find issue with crashing. Oh, that's great. And this is after they reported they found it or something?
Yeah.
Someone replay those Intel ads featuring Justin Long and such. Yeah, they forgot to consider something that Macs actually do great, like not burn your PCs to smithereens.
That's true, but
I don't know what's more dangerous.
Shall I move
though.
on to the?
I don't know what's more dangerous: an Intel chip blowing up in a laptop or a desktop. Because on one hand, the laptop has a battery, and if that catches fire, you know what happens. But if a PC blows, especially by the power supply, that's connected to high voltage.
I would say the laptop because the desktop, because if it's connected to a power supply, then the power supply could, in theory, like I don't know I don't know that much about electricity, but couldn't it theoretically break the outlet and potentially the circuit or else the power surrounding it?
Depending on, there's a few things that can cause it. One is ground fault, where there's no ground and the computer something shorts. Which, given in a thermal event like that, I have a pretty good feeling something would short in that nature. An overcurrent event, which would happen when you short a circuit like that. And so, yeah, you're definitely going to destroy your outlet and potentially your house if the breaker in the breaker box doesn't trip. So, yeah, that's fun.
And of course, with fires, you have to consider how unsafe fires are.
But then also, say you're using your laptop on your lap and the battery explodes.
Then it can be just as harmful.
So, in other words, don't buy an Intel PC.
Yeah, just like how you wouldn't want a Note 7 to explode in your pocket, or if there's actually a whole bunch of YouTube videos and reports, believe it or not, of e-cigarette batteries exploding.
I'm not shocked about that, considering how they function. Oh, I mentioned in the chat today, somebody's Galaxy Z Fold caught fire.
Oh yeah, Jerry everything, his Z Fold caught on fire.
Now, albeit, the reason how it caught fire is not because of the battery overheating and such. In fact, where it caught fire was nowhere near the battery. It's just, he was messing around with the screen, and I guess somehow he managed to short circuit it. And that caught the device on fire.
That's his fault.
Yeah. I mean, it technically is his fault why it caught fire, but still, that's... I didn't even think he did that much to cause it to short circuit. So...
I'm not subscribed to his channel anymore, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not either. It's just I randomly, occasionally watch some of his videos, and the ones where something... Well... The ones where something unusual happens, those are the ones that I like to watch. Like, the device catches fire, or, well, in the case of the iPad, I watched that teardown as well, because everyone was so concerned about how thin it was and how it would be so easy to bend. And so I was curious to see, okay, how easily bendable is that? And which I was very shocked on how well it performed, actually. I was not expecting it to perform the way it did.
Apple probably knows that jerry-rig everything is that people use jerry-rig everything's test to check that stuff out.
Perhaps. But apparently Samsung didn't get the memo, because I guess they designed it in a way where he didn't even have to do that much to the screen, and somehow he managed to short it out, and that was enough to get the device to catch on fire.
That's not fun.
Samsung and fires. How do they just can't avoid it. It makes me nervous because
they truly can.
Yeah, it makes me nervous because Samsung has recently announced they figured out the solid state battery. Samsung figured it out. Whew,
I don't know how much I trust Samsung.
I don't know either. I mean, that's the one thing about Rivians that scare me. That's that They use Samsung battery cells, and unfortunately, let's just say their thermal management systems leave a lot to be desired. No, they don't catch fire. It's just the biggest time where you actually experience the Rivian thermal problems when it comes to managing the battery thermals. It's always during charging. It just overheats to the point where it just slows down and you're hardly getting any juice. That's its number one fault. But then again, I think that's a good thing considering Samsung's reputation when it comes to batteries.
All right, shall we move on to the next topic about the iPhone, our next first rumor about the iPhone 16 Pro coming in 2 terabytes?
Who needs that much storage?
My mom actually has been looking for a 2 terabyte iPhone for quite some time.
Are you serious?
Yes. And she wants to upgrade to the iPhone 16 Pro Max.
Oh, gosh. What does she use now?
The 13 Pro Max.
Okay. Oh. So yeah, I guess it's kind of due. I mean, there's nothing that much special about iPhone upgrades nowadays, but I mean, if you do contracts or however she buys them, I guess yeah, it's kind of time.
Well, she actually got her 13 Pro Max in May 2022, but yeah, she doesn't really do contracts, so she pays them all faster than that, but yeah, she does. But yeah, she does. But yeah, she has an iPhone there. But yeah, apparently some people need that much storage. As one of my friends, interestingly enough, has I think 30,000 photos in his library, if I'm not mistaken.
Then again, if I really want to film some high quality road trip videos, I guess I probably should do something of that nature. I mean, 1080p is not bad, but I still prefer 4K.
So do I, and I don't. And I mean, I don't know if I would like to do road trip videos just because they're such a pain to edit, but.
Not really, actually. From what I found, especially the way I do it, I take the clip, which is usually 1 to 2 hours long, depending on how long my stretch takes me. I then take a background music track, and then I just start trimming my way through, pulling clips from the footage, and I just scroll ahead every 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long it is, and there's your clips.
That's actually pretty cool. Well, I still have a phone mount for my car, so I can't film road trip videos, and I don't exactly. And I'm not only not that kind of YouTuber, but I also when do I go on road trips again?
Yeah, exactly.
Because last I checked, I don't really go on them.
I'm trying to think. When's the last time you left your state?
Actually, I have left my state. I've left my state in the past month.
Oh, okay. But before that, you hadn't left it in what, 4, 5, 6 years? Something like that?
Or I've actually left. I should say, sometimes I go to adjacent states around me, but otherwise, to adjacent states around me, but otherwise I don't go, a long ways away.
Not 1,000 miles like what I did last month.
Yeah, I do not go. I have yet to go 1,000 miles away.
That is that was one of the craziest feelings I had, just going down the road on I-39, 74, 65, 64, 75, whatever highways I was on, all by myself. Not a care in the world, nobody to stop me except the police if they thought they wanted to stop me. It was such a weird feeling. Just, nope, I'm in full control. Nobody can tell me what to do.
I mean, I don't exactly have that kind of I don't exactly have that kind of authority yet because I'm still 16, unfortunately. But
It's an interesting feeling though.
Someday I'll have that full kind of 40.
But yeah, other than like filming road trip videos like I do, why would you need 2 terabytes?
I mean, I guess if you have a large library of photos, or else if you use Snapchat and take way too many photos.
I just back them up to the computer then, or actually, I just delete Snapchat as well because why would you use it?
Snapchat is such a stupid app.
I also learned how creepy it is too. Apparently, it's
Yeah, you know how Snapchat got its start, right?
I don't know how it started, but I do know one creepy feature that drives me nuts, and apparently it does location tracking and shows you where everybody is.
Oh, that's extreme. Oh, I can't stand that. That's one of the reasons why I'm not on Snapchat.
It's if you want to share your location, then use an actual dedicated app for it. You don't need a social media to do it. That's
And more
just
importantly,
asking for
Snapchat,
trouble.
I mean, and I'm not going to say what I don't want to fully say what Snapchat was used for, but you know its initial name was Peekaboo.
Oh gosh. I don't want to imagine what it was used for.
Do you want to know what it was used for?
I kind of don't actually.
It was used for sending images of something that I definitely can't show online.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Like, it was used for sending images of your junk.
Thank God that's not the direction YouTube decided to go in. Oh gosh.
Phew.
That's just. Some people just don't have any brain cells.
They have artificial intelligence.
Precisely. Intelligence that tries
Alright, shall
to
I move on
imitate
to our regular-
intelligence but fails at it miserably.
Just like well, that's actually all right. Shall I move on to iPhone 16 rumors now?
Sure.
So the iPhone 16 will come in purple, which is shown in renders to be washed out, though I have no idea if that's accurate or not.
Probably.
The 5 times telephoto zoom lens exclusive to the iPhone 15 Pro Max will come to all phones, meaning that the ultra wide lens might finally get replaced with a telephoto lens on the standard ones. There's going to be a minor Face ID change. The metal batteries will only be on the smaller variants, not the bigger variants, and there will be a graphite sheet to manage heat. Speaking of Apple taking care of thermal issues.
Yeah, I know we were just raving about Intel not taking care of their thermal issues. Apple has some slight work to do with these devices. And no, not the XS Max. I mean, like, their iPhones in general.
I mean, I personally don't really have that many issues with my phones overheating, but I also don't do intense stuff on my phones. Like, I don't game on my phones.
Yeah, for me, what triggers it most of the time is I don't understand why, but plug share requires so much performance in order to... It makes no sense.
Maybe it's collecting so much user data about you.
No, it's not. It doesn't have any reason to pull us because we're providing it data for charging experiences. So, yeah, I don't understand why there are some apps that feel the need to draw every last drop of performance from the phone because they just overheat. They'll overheat every now and again. Especially during camera usage. That's a good way to overheat a phone.
That is true.
For example, yep, you are feeling just a little warm.
Your phone that you're using to film?
Yep.
Are you using continuity camera?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why the webcam quality looks a little better.
Yeah, you want, let's see, camera. Yeah, this is the MacBook's webcam. There might be fingerprints over it.
Ah.
So, yeah, all right. Oh wait, what's this? OBS virtual camera? This is new.
That's been there for quite a while.
Huh. I'll have to figure out how to use that. That would make screen sharing a heck of a lot easier, actually. But
I've never used that, so I don't know how to use it or anything.
oh, neither do I.
Or
I the only reason I have
What do
Discord
you-
now is just for this show. I don't even visit the Talos server anymore because the people there hate me. So
I don't even use Discord for anything else other than podcasting either, since my mom doesn't seem to be most keen on me having Discord.
I mean, for good reason too. Have you heard about the recent Mr. Beast scandal going on?
Yes, I have.
That's
one of my friends.
all my
I was
YouTube
talking
feed
about
is.
one of my friends. Do you even watch Mr. Beast?
On the occasion, like, I don't watch every one of his videos because I don't know, there are some behaviors people will do on the internet that I just don't like watching in general, and I don't know, some of his ideas are just kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's cool, nice production quality, but I don't know. It's not. Squid Game broke the internet, and that's what finally convinced me to actually subscribe to him, because I really enjoyed Squid Game a lot, but I'm not subscribed to him anymore. I ended up unsubscribing after this whole mass controversy going on.
Yeah, I never really watched Mr. Beast in the first place, just because I thought, just because, I mean, I always perceived him as more of an, I mean, the same reason why I unsubscribed from Mr. Who's the Boss in this case, is because Mr. Beast at this point, I mean, he's just an influencer, I mean, and I hate influencers because they are like, everything they do is stupid, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so cool, like,
So in other words, just insulted
influencers are not
us.
cool people.
Because technically we're influencers.
We're not influencers.
We're just not
I mean,
big
the difference
ones.
between us and like the difference between being a content creator and being an influencer is that we're not influencers in the sense that we just try to do dumb stuff to become popular. Like, we actually make podcasts and we actually make content with the focus of getting a message out rather than viewership.
I don't know, some of my content has influenced a few people's buying decisions.
Well, I mean, and for influencing people's buying decisions, but their stuff is just kind of but their reason is just for making dumb. There's a vehicle for Carolina squad that just passed my house. A Chevy Tahoe.
Yeah. Ironically, that's illegal in North Carolina.
And South Carolina.
Yeah, true.
And Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
And Tennessee, and soon to be Mississippi. Oh, hang on, gotta turn on voice isolation. Because my mowers are here.
Oh, lovely.
Lovely. How do I do this?
There's...
Oh, few is voice isolation, okay.
Okay, you got it on?
Yeah.
Good, because Discord actually filters that out automatically.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts.
Alright, well, do you have any more thoughts on the iPhone? Or I guess let's finish up our side tangent about influencer. Let me finish up my side tangent about influencers
Yeah,
before
sure.
we get back on topic. My biggest problem with influencers is that they just try to do stuff to be popular, and it's not necessarily intelligent. Like, I saw a tweet on Twitter. I saw a tweet once that actually said that people who are obsessed with celebrities just generally don't seem to be as smart. And I don't necessarily want to say that's true, but I mean, like, the content of just purely being popular or just being an influencer, like, it's generally not as intelligent as like TIFP.
No. I mean, the only reason why I want more people to watch my stuff is because I'm trying to get monetized at the moment. So, but like once that happens, it's genuinely, I don't really care about the numbers that much. I'm just going to let YouTube do what it wants to do, and I'm just going to make stuff, and people want to watch it. Well, stuff's there. It's just...
Yeah, because, I mean, Mr. Beast tries to make it seem like he's so generous in his videos, even though, actually now in his controversy, it's revealed that most of the people he gives away would actually win his money and such are literally just his friends and family.
Or employees.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it really that special?
Yeah, it's looking real bad.
And I've heard, and I saw somewhere online that he's actually bald but wears a wig, though I don't know if that's true.
I doubt that. I really doubt that.
That could be true.
I don't think so. Because there was one video where he actually did shave his hair off.
Maybe that was it.
So. Oh, then again, considering that apparently he's been faking some videos, so no, maybe that was fake. I don't think so. Shaving hair off like that, you could definitely tell if it's real hair or if it's a wig. So.
Yeah. Shall we get back to being? Do you have anything more to say on topic, which is about the iPhone 16 rumors? Or do you have anything to say about it?
Dude, it is so hard for me to care, because, I mean, sure, camera button, you know how I feel about that. Pale colors, like, of course. That's how Apple does colors. Just, yeah. A slight change to Face ID, wow, okay. I mean, the hole in the screen that should be further away from the center is getting a tad smaller. Cool. It still should be further away from the center. I'm not budging on that. Just the only phones that I'm actually... Honestly, the only phones in the 16 lineup I'm actually interested in are just the regular models.
Well, at this point, they'll let the A18 ship again, so it'll be more fair to be interested in them. But, I mean, I'm surprised you weren't excited about the fact that the telephoto lens might replace the ultra-wide lens in the standard one.
I don't like that, actually. I don't like that, because that's removing an angle. Because, while yes, when you technically zoom in on, well, the non-telephoto lens iPhones, when you zoom in, yeah, the quality gets worse. But you can still zoom in if you want. But now you're completely losing an angle.
That's actually a good point, since I figured that fewer average Joes would want to lack an ultra-wide lens just because... I mean, a lot of average Joes do things like group pictures.
Yeah, I mean, take the XS Max here, for example.
That's such where it matters.
I'm actually starting to realize one of my biggest issues with this phone is I'm starting to not like the camera setup in the fact that it has a telephoto instead of an ultra-wide.
You never used to care about... You actually used to say the opposite quite
I know, that's
quite a lot
that's
in
weird.
videos.
But I think it's because I started doing car reviews and more car content, and in that instance, having an ultra-wide is so useful.
Yeah, like I need to, like if you want to even just take pictures of your car, like you need to have an ultra wide lens.
Especially if you're on the interior and you want to capture as much as possible. Like most of the shots where I'm discussing the driver, not the car statistics, how efficient was I driving, and putting in the navigation, most of that was filmed on the ultra wide lens. Now the actual driving footage, that was the main lens, because actually the ultra wide was too wide for that particular scenario. But most of the shots where I'm just in the car panning around, changing controls, yeah, the ultra wide lens is active. And when I do my car reviews, when I'm giving you guys a full tour of the interior, I am always using the ultra-wide lens on my 13 Pro Max. So, yeah, I guess because now my workflow has slightly changed where, yeah, it's kind of handy to have an ultra-wide lens now. Now I'm starting to wish that this phone even had it. But
I mean, it makes sense because like when I'm taking photos of like all my when I'm taking photos of a bunch of my devices at once, like all the ones that sit, like a lot of them that sit in here, like if I'm taking a photo of a bunch of them, then I like having the ultra wide lenses so that way I can take photos of them while grouping them.
so, yeah, that's the one thing that really is disappointing me because, I mean, at first I was not using it a lot because my workflow just did not require it, and that's why I didn't care about losing the lens. But now that my workflow starts to require it a lot more often, and it's like, if I need to zoom in more, I mean, if I do use the ultra-wide lens and I want to zoom in more, it does not jump to the telephoto. It actually just starts cropping in. Why it does that, I don't know, but it does it. But still, I'd say it's more handy to have that extra camera angle instead of getting higher quality zoom, because honestly, I don't think many average Joes would care about that.
That's true, especially because most average Joes, I mean, a lot of people do buy external camera modules, but also just like, I don't see that. Again, group photos, like I already mentioned.
Yeah, that's a big one.
A lot of family. Because a lot more people are taking photos on their phones, and especially because a lot of people like for Christmas cards, like taking photos on their phones of a large family, or their families at Christmas time, posting and unfortunately Facebook.
Sadly. Ugh. So yeah, that's my biggest disappointment in terms of the standard models. They should keep the ultra wide, but other than that, I mean, everything we've talked about, it's like minimal upgrades. What's big? Why should we care? And in general, there's not much to be excited about anymore. Because I mean, I feel like smartphones have peaked with this, and everything after that is kind of a nicety. But yeah, in terms of phones that do everything you need, it's just... Dude, they've gotten so good. It's hard to go wrong, especially if you don't want to pay all up front for a brand new phone. You can get a pretty good used one.
No. Do not buy used smartphones as daily phones.
You can get some good stuff.
No, do not. I highly advise against that just because here's my theory on this. I think the reason why people are starting to say, okay, it's more okay to buy used phones now as your main phones, just because people are getting, again, this comes to the same problem why people are trying to invent new form factors of gadgets, just because now smartphones are becoming more of a necessity and just kind of a staple item. There's fewer upgrades are happening a lot slower. It's because they've just been around longer, so as a result, people are getting more bored. But in reality, it's like cars. It's like refrigerators, for example. How often do you see upgrades in refrigerators?
Pretty much until it breaks.
Or I meant, how often do you see groundbreaking new refrigerator features?
I've only seen one where I was at a Best Buy in Asheville, and they had an LG refrigerator on display where you could knock on the window and it'll show you what's inside.
I mean, that's been a feature for like 7 years, though.
I have no clue how long that thing's been in existence, because, I mean, we don't pay attention to that many appliances.
I mean, I actually used to be a pretty big appliance enthusiast when I was like 9, so as a result, I sort of pay attention to the industry, but not quite as much. but not quite as much as I do the tech and EV industry.
Well, they're also machines that serve one purpose. It's to, well, in the case of a refrigerator, it's to keep things cold. Dishwasher, wash the dishes. Microwave, electrify your food so it heats up.
But getting back on topic, like with these staple gadgets like refrigerators, like I mean they've been around for 100 years, and so you don't see new features coming out every single year that are groundbreaking and exciting, but they're still decent upgrades, and so as a result, I see phones in that same way. Like sure, the features might not be bleeding edge every single year, but they're still minor features to just make the phone better. And again, we have to remember that because Apple is embracing their artificial intelligence now, they have to embrace the AI on the iPhone 16 series so as a result, they don't have quite as much time to come up with new features. And we also have to remember that Apple doesn't really... I think Apple's starting to feel pressured not to make quite as good phones just because the competition is sucking so bad that...
I agree with you. I do agree with you on that.
Phones.
But... like, when you think about it, though, for us, yeah, it always makes sense. Get the new one. For us tech enthusiasts. But for most average Joes, like, say, for my mom, for example, all she does on her phone is just calls, texts, maybe the occasional game. But other than that, she really doesn't care what device she uses. She took my Galaxy A50, which it was then used... in fact, it actually had a crack in the display. That didn't bother her. She used the thing... How long did she use that? She used it for a while.
Again, like, if Tabby were here, Tabby and I would both go off the point, like, for example, like, it's easy, you know you're getting a great experience when you buy something brand new versus when you buy something used. Like, you know it's going to be ultimately the best experience.
But then there's some people that don't care about that. It's the same reason why people still buy Windows PCs today. They don't care about the experience. They buy them because they're cheap.
That's actually a good point. Like, or I should say, like, for example, like, I should say that at least if you can afford it, then I would say buy the latest flagship iPhone when it comes out. However, like, I do advise going used in other cases just because it's so much. In other cases, just like, for example, I do sort of recommend that people go out and buy iPhone 14 Pros over 15s.
But yeah, in terms of, like, you wanted to relate it to the car industry, for example, honestly, from my past experiences, I'd rather buy new. That's just me. Would it be extremely expensive?
Same.
Yes. Would I happen to lose a lot of money due to depreciation? Absolutely. But the reason why I would buy new is because I want an experience where the car has not had enough time to age, therefore it has not had enough time to break down and cause me to have to spend more on repairs because parts have aged and such. I care about that experience. Well, for me, one, being a car enthusiast, but also I care about having extremely reliable transportation, and that's another reason why I buy iPhones in brand new condition. I bought this brand new out of the box, despite that it was a year old. It was technically a brand new phone.
Technically, it was or you bought in 2020, so it was nearing 2 years old, and
it was still in brand new condition. That's technically
new.
And
you updated it from iOS 12.0.
So, yeah, it's still... I still bought this when it was technically brand new. And the same with my 13 Pro Max. I bought that brand new as well, and that's because me being an enthusiast, I care about the experience. But there are some people, like my parents, for example, I love to list them because the experience of using their stuff is something that they clearly do not care about. The newest car that my family owns is a car from 2011, and it's currently been parked in the driveway for literally over a year.
Your family doesn't even use that car?
It's supposed to be it's actually supposed to be my dad's typical commuter, the problem is it's having transmission issues, and it's been having it for over a year. That it's been parked for over a year. So now they're currently on their other vehicles, the Yukon, which is from 2004, and my dad's pickup truck from 2002 with a completely rusted out bottom, and it's completely missing its bed.
You mean like it's literally just like two wheels, like it's like half of a truck?
No, it has 4 wheels. It's just missing the bed box.
I have got to see that.
Let me.
Like
Is it still here?
That sounds like it
Is
looks
it still in the drive? I
ridiculous.
should be able to get a pic from my window. Let me see. Yep, it's right there. That's not the most focused pic in the world, but come on.
Thank you.
Let's see. Share. YouTube discussion. My screen is so clammy from this humidity, it's having a hard time registering my touch.
I use screen protector, so I don't have that same issue. Well, except on my Apple Watch, but it's not that noticeable.
All right, just have to wait for the internet to do its thing because it's basically maxed out at this point. Oh, I hate the internet so much.
That's true.
In the meantime, I guess I'll pull it up here. So, here's the truck. Notice how it's missing its bed. That's what my dad drives every day.
It looks like a vehicle a redneck would drive.
Trust me, you do not want to know how often that thing breaks down.
Oh, I know how often it breaks down.
And then my mom was just having engine trouble with the Yukon as well. Spark plugs were failing. So, yeah. They clearly don't care about the experience. They bought them because, well, I can't necessarily say they were cheap, but they were relatively affordable vehicles.
Yeah, I guess. That's the most ridiculous looking car I've seen.
Oh, I've seen. Have I shared you an image of driving around town? I hate seeing this one car. It's a Toyota Prius in this teal blue color.
Oh, you showed me. Or you told me about
And
it.
it's coated in anime stickers, and there's this giant anime picture just completely covering the back window. It is so
How is
ugly.
it safe?
It's like the ugliest thing you've ever seen. I don't know how he drives that thing. He looks like a complete dork driving down the roads here.
It's better. It's better than having. I guess it might be better than having. No, it's actually just as bad as having a Carolina squat, which I see way too much of.
Yeah, he looks like a complete dork driving that thing down the roads.
Does anybody have a Carolina squat in your area?
Carolina squat is not very common up here. And that's because if it were to potentially have a Carolina squat, the whole vehicle would be completely down on its suspension. Not just the rear of it.
Because the winter.
No, because of the potholes.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a danger to having vehicles with air suspension up here. Don't expect it to last long.
Oh, I guess maybe it's too bad people aren't realizing that down where I live.
So, yeah, I mean, air suspension, it is arguably the most comfortable suspension out there, and it is convenient when you need dynamic ground clearance. The problem is sometimes it can be a little too dynamic with its ground clearance.
Well, it's also just not as safe. It's just not safe to have a Carolina squat because it makes turns a lot harder.
Or in my old car, Red Fox, where you have no suspension at all, and yes, it was an air suspension vehicle. then you're... well, I mean, you can take that thing around corners because now it's extremely stiff, but still, it's... Whew! Yeah, you don't want to own a vehicle with air suspension up here. Thank goodness that Stardust does not have it. I mean, it would technically be more comfortable if it did, but because it doesn't, it means it's now more reliable.
That's why I'm glad I don't have air suspension in my car.
Yeah. If I recall, the Mercedes S-Class...
All right, shall I get back on topic?
Yeah, we probably should. All right. What's next?
The iPhone set there will finally not be an iPhone 17 Plus, but there's instead going to be an iPhone 17 Slim, which is going to have a single camera lens, but it's going to be the thinnest iPhone ever, and it'll have the A19 chip. But it will be more expensive than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, or the 17 Pro Max, I guess.
Why would you buy that?
As a single camera lens, like unless it's going to be like one of those camera lenses that can physically move, then there's no point to that.
Okay, having a different size regular option, it did make sense. You can at least admit, having a regular size, we're on the 15s now, having a regular size 15 and then a plus size 15, can you at least say that makes sense? Ignoring the price?
Sort of.
Ignoring the price, does it make sense to have a smaller and a bigger option?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because we know why the bigger option is not doing too well. It's the price. That is the number one reason why it's not selling. It's just too expensive. This makes less sense, way less sense than that, ignoring the price.
This is going to fail even worse than the iPhone 15 Plus.
Yeah, this...
Like, I think
Goodness gracious.
I think they should have... I think they should just have 3 different sizes of iPhones. Like, maybe have a big 6.9-inch iPhone, have like a 6 point... Or have like a 6 point... Or have just a normal 6-inch iPhone, or 6.1 or 6.2. And then have a like 5.4-inch iPhone or 5.5-inch iPhone.
That actually would be perfect.
Prioritize on making that slim. Then prioritize on making the mini iPhone slim then.
Well, then you're kind of compromising on the battery at that point.
Again, if you need more battery life, you're too addicted to your phone.
No, I mean, like, you're probably really, really compromising the battery at that point. Because, like, think about how slim is this supposed to be?
It's supposed to be thinner than... Hang on, let me grab it. An iPhone 6.
It's supposed to be thinner than that?
Yes.
There's no way, there's no way you can make that work in a mini. You compromise the battery too much.
I mean, if you only had like one camera, and then if you just had a small logic port and then just made the battery...
But Apple being Apple, they're going to put the latest chip in it.
That's true. I mean, you can put the latest chip in it, but you can still have a somewhat small logic board and then just put... I can see Apple making that work if they bothered.
I think it would have a worse battery than the 12 mini, and everyone hated the 12 mini's battery. Well, most people did.
Some people actually like it,
Some
though.
people liked it.
Tabby liked it.
Most didn't, though. It's safe to say most didn't.
Well, I mean, the mini super slim mini iPhone would just be for people who really wanted a compact phone, but not necessarily who didn't care about battery life.
Yeah, still, this slim phone idea makes no sense to me, especially considering that now when we do factor in price... You know, I'm going to say it, on a scale of 1 to all of them, how many drugs is Apple on? They're just asking for a flop.
I'm actually curious how many drugs they're smoking too.
I'm curious to know
Like,
how
I
many
mean,
drugs
maybe they're-
friend is smoking.
I mean, they're in California, so you know they could probably be smoking weed.
I would not be shocked. Oh goodness gracious! Yeah, the slim thing, it just makes no. I mean, would it be a cool feat of engineering? Absolutely, but
It's just a cool feat of engineering.
it's the
like
same
Vision
story with the
Pro.
iPad Pro. Its thinness, yeah, it's impressive. Is it useful? No. Especially considering that, the iPad Pro isn't selling well. It seems to have this problem. What can we do to solve this problem? I know! Let's make it thinner! And completely not address everybody's complaints about software.
I think Apple just ultimately needs to simplify their lineups down, because the truth is that, I mean, I've said this before and I say it again. Apple's product lineup is starting to look a little bit like their product lineup in 1996.
Yeah, they're starting to make products that are for way too niche of people, and I think it's time to pull a Steve Jobs and reel this company back in.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, Apple's literally just doing things to impress investors.
It's not fun. At this point, I say on the internet, investors are now officially useless.
Because all investors are showing investors just have artificial intelligence.
Yes.
And these investors don't seem to have much knowledge about technology. You know, the artificial intelligence is actually... The idea of artificial intelligence contains more artificial intelligence than AI actually does.
You know, here's the title for this episode.
I mean, AI has...
Here's the title for this episode. Investors are officially useless.
I might have to consider that.
Because all we've been talking about are things where most of the time we've been talking about things where investors are involved, like the whole AI thing, various other decisions as well. It makes sense. Guys, it's official. Investors are officially useless. They do not allow companies to make great products anymore.
Shall I move on to something Apple's probably doing again to impress investors?
Is it something about a foldable?
Yes, Apple may release an iPhone as their first foldable instead of an iPad. But unfortunately, they're going to make it like an iPhone, like an old school. Hang on, let me grab one. They're going to make it like an old school flip phone instead, or the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip instead of like a Z Fold, which I think combining an iPhone and an iPad into one gadget would make far better sense personally.
I hate it when I talk to the foldable enthusiast community because they act like it's the best thing in the world, and they're so confused. They just don't understand. Why does nobody care about this? They claim it's the best thing in the world.
I mean, if Apple can manage to combine iPhone and iPad successfully into like one foldable, if they manage to do that, then they could probably get mainstream appeal for foldables.
I don't know. Every use case I've tried to
it doesn't seem like
think of when it comes to using it, like especially when Samsung tries to demonstrate, why should you get the Z Fold? Why do you need to have your phone unfold from already a tall rectangle like this into double, two rectangles side by side, when ultimately it's still smaller than an iPad mini, and it's going to cost more money than an iPad mini and a relatively big smartphone combined.
Maybe that's a feat of engineering that Apple should work on, is making a foldable iPhone that's cheaper than an iPhone and an iPad mini combined.
Dude, this is Apple we're talking about. Do you really think they're going to price this thing cheaper than an iPhone and an iPad mini combined?
That's a good point.
There is no way they're going to do it. This is Apple we're talking about.
Even Steve Jobs wouldn't do that.
Absolutely not.
Well, again, I don't know if Steve Jobs exactly... Well, Steve Jobs might somewhat be interested in foldables, but there's no way it's... But yeah.
Yeah, there's no way Apple's going to try to bring the price down on that thing. In fact, we've seen with Samsung, they rose the price of foldables. So where's your argument of,
That's true,
eventually
they did.
at some point after technology progresses, this foldable technology is going to become cheaper, therefore the mass market will eventually be able to afford that. Yeah! Samsung's latest lineup really supports that theory.
I can't believe people still think foldables are good.
It's such a niche category, and I hate it when people in that niche enthusiast group try to argue it's the best thing and everybody should be buying them lickety split. And I hate it when they act confused as to why people don't buy it. When the answer's right from their face.
It's just that foldables are simply too expensive.
And even that, like when I think of using it, like for the Z Flip, for example, that style phone, it's not
That's so useless.
You're now adding an extra step too. You now have to not only do you have to pull your phone out of your pocket, now you have to unfold it with, most of the time it's both hands. I've never seen anybody open these foldables with one hand. Quickly at least. Some will do it with one hand, but it's never quick. Oh, and also you got to be very cognizant of your fingernails because fragile plastic display as glass isn't naturally foldable. So, and then the Z Fold, the advantage of unfolding that bigger screen, it's still smaller than a miniature dedicated tablet. At that point,
It's a very valid point.
At that point, just buy a really big smartphone. If that's what you care about.
I mean, Samsung already has big... Samsung has big smartphones.
Oh, the S24
so...
Ultra is huge. I've held that thing before.
I've never held one person, but again, I don't even care about Samsung anymore, but...
Yeah, it's so hard to, especially after their last announcement. Where's the originality? I miss it so much.
Alright, shall we move on to a company that's being somewhat original, which is that the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is going to have a black finish, finally.
Wasn't that rumored last year?
Where's the other cool color finish? It was, though, so you have to keep that in mind, but I confirm, I'm going to go ahead and confirm this myself. It's a S10 chip that I'll have. It'll be faster and it will be AI focused.
Of course.
And that's of course going to be the same for the Apple Watch Series 10, which won't be redesigned, but will have a thicker design.
Didn't Apple actually admit that the whole reason they're getting on the AI bandwidth is purely because of investors, and that's what the market is after?
When did they admit that?
I don't know. I heard somebody talking about it from an article. It's just...
Let me look that up now, since I'm very curious.
But yeah, in terms of the Watch Ultra, I'm not a Watch Ultra type of person, so how to be excited for this thing, I can't. I just can't. Goodness gracious. What is the temperature?
75 degrees outside.
Oh, you're lying. Oh, wait, no, that's thinking outside. What is the temperature in here?
It's 81 degrees Fahrenheit in the office.
Yep, we rose a degree, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe that should be the episode title.
I don't know. I mean, we're talking about stuff catching on fire, too. Intel chips, Galaxy foldables. Me cooking alive in this office.
Well, you want to know something? You want to know some good news about the Apple Watch? A rumor about the Apple Watch before we move on to a bad one?
Should we do bad first so we can be pleasantly surprised later?
Let's do that. All right, so the Apple Watch SE3 could possibly have a plastic housing.
Wow. That's a downgrade in materials.
Yes, it is. In fact, one of the reasons why I like the Logitech crayon so much is because it actually has it's primarily made of metal, whereas the Apple Pencil itself, mind you, an Apple product, and made in the past 15 years, is made out of plastic.
AirPods.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, my point is that. Well, Apple is a competitor to the Apple Pencil. Yeah. It's made of higher quality materials.
I know. I say that. I also say that as I'm wearing metal AirPods.
Yeah.
I mean, there is one pro to this that I actually can think of, though.
It'll make it cheaper.
Well, that, but also some people don't like. You know how you and mostly Tabby, actually. You know how you guys talk about the weight of devices a lot? Mostly Tabby.
Oh, that's actually a good point because, I mean, plastic will be lighter, and there's some people who are actually allergic to metal, too.
I suppose, yeah, that is strangely true.
Because, for example, I actually have to wear aluminum-free deodorant because my armpits cannot tolerate aluminum.
That's something I don't think many people needed to know, but okay. It's technically bad for other reasons, but yeah, that's the one benefit that I think some other people would definitely consider because, like, especially when I talk about differences between 16-inch and 14-inch MacBook Pros, the number one reason why everybody always tell me 14-inch is superior, you cannot prove them wrong, is because it's lighter. By what? Like, maybe at most a pound. I don't remember the difference in weight, but it's... That's what everybody insists. They claim that the 16-inch is too heavy.
I'm not. Now, granted, I do lift weights, but I mean, I can lift this 16-inch MacBook Pro my 16-inch 2023 MacBook Pro perfectly fine.
Yeah, sometimes I think people are too stuck in the 2000s where big laptops actually used to be, yeah, they were heavy and they did require a gym membership in order to actually lift them. But guys, times have changed. Our stuff has gotten so much lighter.
I mean, why don't you think netbooks could succeed in today's society?
Well, we've got the MacBook Air that's already light enough.
Yeah, exactly.
And they offer a bigger screen, too. Something that I think a lot of laptop users would like.
That's an advantage. That's an advantage, too. I just realized a major con to Apple making a plastic housing. That could be a pro.
What's that?
So you know how Apple loves to be eco-friendly?
Oh, gosh. You had to mention it.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, how is plastic isn't exactly an eco-friendly material, is it?
It's recyclable.
Yeah, but I mean that's actually a good point. But I mean, you gotta factor that into like how. But there's a good silver lining to it.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I'm not against recycling at all. In fact, I am very mad at
Oh,
how
no,
much
I'm-
our state discourages recycling, by the way. It's not even offered here anymore. We have to throw our recycling away now. It's not even offered here anymore. It's that bad.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'm not against recycling at all, but just how Apple claims they're so environmentally friendly when we can prove them in so many different ways that they're not.
Like, for example, if they were more eco-friendly, they would put a power brick in the boxes of iPhones.
Well, I'd still argue it's not needed because we've had how many years to buy power bricks, and how many power bricks do we have lying around?
I mean, if they want to ship out faster ones with the faster charging that the newer iPhones are coming out with, then I think it would be a good idea. And besides, what if you need a random power brick for something? Then too, like, that's a good. Like, I see a lot of my teachers, like, in order to plug in stuff like lights.
Well, here's another.
Use their old Apple power bricks for that.
Yeah, well, here's another future that we're kind of moving towards in terms of like home technology as well. You've seen those wall outlets with USB ports in them?
Actually, that's a good point. Like,
And then our cars, we're gaining lots and lots more USB ports in those as well.
my old desk actually used to have built-in USB ports. I mean, heck, even one of my lights, which I'll show. This light has USB ports on it.
Oh, that's cool. So, yeah, I'd say, like, our need for actual dedicated power bricks, at least for devices like our smartphones, I think that need is starting to decrease as, like, especially we're seeing more
That's a good point.
more power outlets actually have USB, not just Type A, which why do they need Type A ports when they sell USB-C outlets?
I think I've got to get those inside my house.
Yeah, if I were to build a house, well, at least the outlets that are next to a countertop, those will definitely have USB-C ports. But yeah, I'm starting to see where our dependency on bricks should actually start decreasing. The only reason why I'm still using them is because, well, older home, there's no need to upgrade the outlets. Although, actually, some of these outlets should be replaced.
Same situation in my house.
Yeah, like when you replace your outlets, definitely get your parents on board with the USB-C outlets.
My mom's probably going to be on board with that.
Yeah. Because then you don't have to worry about, oh, where's the brick? I lost the brick. No, devices like laptops, that I do think a power brick is necessary, and Apple is still shipping a power brick with their MacBooks. But for...
That's actually... They still ship power bricks with iPads too, so...
I mean, depending on how you use them, yeah, they can be higher power demanding as well. Then they have larger batteries too, so they need more power to charge them at the same rate as your smartphone. But yeah, but especially for our
There's
smartphones,
a reason why iPod Touch...
I don't really think it's that necessary. I never thought that including a power brick was necessary, even in the early days where, yeah, Apple was giving you a power brick. Like when I bought my XS Max, for example, back in those days when, yeah, everyone expected a power brick in the box, to me it was a nicety. I didn't need it, I didn't ask for it, but it was nice that they included one. But I never thought it needed a power brick in the box.
That's actually a valid point, since I really only use the included power bricks with my MacBooks just because I like to keep the accessories sealed in my boxes.
Yeah. That, and like, I use wireless chargers. So, why do I need a power brick when I have a wireless charger that's always plugged into one? It just doesn't make that much sense.
That's a good point.
Yeah, there's so many reasons why I
Getting
thought that
back
the
on-
power brick was not necessary, and I never understood so many people's argument for the whole... There is one valid point to it, though, that I will give them credit for, is They did this when, I mean, the 11 Pro did happen to switch to USB-C, but it was only the Pros that got it, and that was for 1 year, and it was the next year they immediately got rid of it, and the only cable they included in the box was Lightning to USB-C, and nobody had those bricks. That was a bad... They handled that aspect poorly. I agree.
I personally think... Well, I've already gone to why I personally think they should be included. But getting back on topic to the Apple Watch SE3 possible plastic housing, the only a big silver lining that I see is that maybe Apple's going to stop care finally. They're going to finally stop advertising how they're so eco-friendly.
Oh, they'll still say they're eco-friendly because they're going to say it's made out of recycled plastic or something like that.
That's actually a good point, too.
So, they'll find a way to get that branding in. We'll see Lisa show up at some point. I think her name's Lisa. I haven't seen her in a while.
Who's Lisa?
Wasn't she the lady?
Oh.
Wasn't she the lady who announces all the environmental stuff on stage?
Ah, that's true.
I think it's Lisa.
I'm guessing she was in the room when they were talking to Mother Nature.
I would think so. So yeah, I guess that means she finally was able to get off the roof.
She's still up on the roof?
I don't think so. I hope not. I would think it'd be really hot up there with all those solar panels.
That's a good point.
So, yeah, I hope they got her off the roof. Anywho.
Well, they have so many helicopters there, they could easily do that. But
yeah. Anywho.
Shall I move on to the good news now?
Alrighty, what's the good news?
Or actually, I have one more thing I want to say. Actually, I have one more thing I want to say about the Apple Watch SE3 of how it can be made cheaper. Is Tabby and I have mentioned this quite a lot, but I personally think the best way for Apple to make it cheaper is not via decreasing the bill of materials, but via adding an e-ink display.
That would be interesting.
But
that would require a lot of software optimization, though, because...
That's true.
It's already so colorful. That and, like, one of the watch's biggest features is the 3 rings. The red, green, and blue.
I see it as pink, but...
Well, same difference. It's just because they're lighter shades of each, but... Still, red, green, and blue. Those 3 rings are so famous. How do you do that on an e-ink display?
Maybe Apple's going to have to stop focusing so much on embracing their artificial intelligence and get some real intelligence and figure it out.
Yeah, that'd be a really good idea, actually.
But actually, speaking of the good news, I guess that's a great segue, is that there will be no Apple intelligence for the Apple Watch.
Woohoo! Good! Because it doesn't need it.
Yes! No Apple intelligence! No, I should not sing. My singing voice is horrible.
There's a victory. They were intelligent enough to not add Apple intelligence to it.
We're saying a lot of words. Maybe we should create a song about how many times we've said Apple, artificial, or intelligence on this show.
I mean, I'm a musician.
Or on this episode.
So.
Because remember the Apple 5G song?
Yep. I still play that in my videos on the occasion.
That's one of the best. That's one of the only few good songs in the modern era of music. 5G, 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 5G.
Goodness gracious.
Maybe somebody's gonna finally make a song about Apple and AI.
I don't know. I should probably do a parody of some song and just talking about the lack of intelligence there is with artificial intelligence.
I mean, you'd be creating a tech ballad similar to Sam Times.
Probably.
Because have you seen any of Sam Times' tech ballads?
I've seen some of them. They're extremely cringy, but...
Have you seen Update Windows?
I don't remember that. I don't remember specific ones, but I do remember watching a few, and they were kind of cringy and hilarious at the same time.
Do you remember the one, the parody of the? I think it's "I Would Be 500 Miles." Do you remember the parody of that song?
Nope.
Like I would pay $999.
No, I don't remember that. Oh, do you remember the Vista Blues?
I don't think I watched that. That was Apple
that was a
themselves
Get a
created
Mac. That was a
Yes,
Get a
I
Mac
remember.
ad.
Oh yes, I remember the Vista Blues. That's one of the best songs.
Oh,
That's one of the best songs from '08.
goodness gracious! I miss Apple's marketing from back then. That was. They still have a prime opportunity. Windows still sucks.
I think for the Super Bowl ad, I think if Apple's gonna make a Super Bowl ad, I think they should bring back the Get a Mac ads as the same actors.
Yeah, they need to find
For their
Justin
Super
Long.
Bowl ad, if they make a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they need to find Justin Long and reclaim him as the Apple fan. I mean, he still uses an iPhone today, so. But yeah, they need to get Justin Long
And then they
back.
should get-
And who's the other guy? I can't remember.
John Hodgman.
John Hodgman. Okay, yeah.
And John Hodgman is just an offer, so he doesn't exactly have so he probably has time to do it.
Yeah, just bring back those ads. They're still relevant today.
Because if they brought back the music and background and those same actors, like everybody would know what it was.
Oh yeah.
And like they could do a parody of they could do a follow up to one of their ads, like when the PC traveled into the future to see if its issues have been
Precisely.
fixed. Never seen an ad age so well.
I know, right? Those ads have aged like fine wine.
Well, except for actually a lot of them did age well.
Yeah, they aged so well.
I should know because I did a reaction video to all their Get a Mac ads in 2023, or actually 4 of them.
The Wheel of Fortune. All right, let's see which version of Windows we're going to get today. Come on. Let's get big operating system. Daddy needs an upgrade. Lands on lose a turn. I should have put the blue screen of death on that, though. That would have been funnier.
Maybe they could do a parody of that. Maybe they could do like, come on, Daddy needs an upgrade for the new Get a Mac ad. Then just make a blue screen
Dude,
of
if
death
I
as
had
the
so much
option.
free time, I can't tell you how many videos would be on the Skits channel right now, featuring all of these parody ads.
Well, I'm actually doing a parody ad of sort of how the Rabbit R1 was introduced or doing a parody video tomorrow that'll be out when this episode comes out about making fun of all these AI gadgets.
Have fun with it.
So basically, I'll give you a hint. It's the Brilliant AI clip, which doesn't exist.
I actually haven't watched any of these announcements of these AI products, and it's because, truly, I don't care. I don't know how to care. I try to, but I don't know how. Because all I see is just the reason why this product does not need to exist.
And I'm glad I'm making this parody tomorrow before Saturday Night Live decides to do a skit on this type of stuff.
Oh, goodness. You could swear that the Friend ads they should have been Saturday Night Live skits.
Oh, did you know Drew from Talos of Tech actually thought it was an SNL skit?
I watched his behind-the-scenes stream when he made that video. So, yeah, I know. I at first knew... It was so funny. I was one... There was me and, 2 other people, but I was the most frequent commenter, and we're like, what the heck is this Friend thing? No, none of us knew what he was talking about. And then as he started going on and describing it, the chat was hilarious. Everyone was like, what the heck? Where did everyone's brain cells go? It was so funny reading that chat as he was recording that video. It was too funny. Yeah, this is one of the benefits of being a Talos of Tech member. I get to watch the behind the scenes, which I have probably officially just missed. Considering that he has published that video 8 minutes ago, yeah, I definitely missed the entire stream. Oh well.
That's too bad.
He always does it when I'm busy. I hate it when he does that. All right.
I mean, did he do the friend AI necklace thing when that behind the scenes video when you were
No,
busy?
conveniently he did it at 7 o'clock when I was just settling down and relaxing. I mean, I was supposed to come up with some tech video that day, but I had a stressful enough day and I have no more energy. I try. I just don't have it.
Well, luckily that's why I make videos.
Yeah, I don't even know what to talk about. I mean, after the whole friend AI thing, I think I'm probably going to make a video discussing the sheer lack of intelligence with this whole thing, but I don't know. If I did that, I probably would end up getting the same amount of attention that I got on the last video, if you might recall. To me, as I was reading those comments, I was just realized, you know what? These are people who don't actually want to see their products improve.
Exactly.
So that's the unfortunate realization that's what everybody was thinking. It's like, yep, it's okay. We don't have to be original. We don't have to be special. It's okay if we suck. That's fine.
Why do I feel these are the same people who watch Mr. Beast and SS Sniper Wolf?
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to stop paying attention to that stuff because it's now clogging up my YouTube feed. I'm like, I don't want to watch that, but at the same time, what's going on in the tech industry that's exciting?
I don't even check my YouTube feed. I don't even check my YouTube feed anymore. I just go straight to subscriptions since half the time it just recommends me that dumb influencery stuff that I hate.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Which, by the way, if you do a long press on the YouTube app, it'll bring up like that 3D touch menu and it'll just take you directly to shortcuts. Therefore, you never have to visit the home page ever again. Yeah, just in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, let me demonstrate. Here is the home screen. I'm going to 3D touch YouTube. Oh, look, subscriptions.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't even have to visit the homepage.
Maybe I should try that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. So, because I hate what's going on my recommendation page. It's just not good anymore.
Let me check my YouTube recommendation page to see what they're recommending.
Gosh, I gotta get up. I cook in this chair. I cannot breathe in it. Jeez.
All right. So let's see. Okay, this is
You're not working hard enough, fans.
okay. Quiet Solitude, lo-fi song, lo-fi hip hop mix. Don't care. The rest of it. My first recommendation. Okay. Why was forced to learn the recorder in school? As much as I hate using the recorder,
Answers in Progress?
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, I watch that channel. I like their stuff.
They make some cool videos, but that's just like what a water power timer is hidden in. Okay, that sounds like something I'll have to watch that. if Don't Stop Believing was Minor, okay, I sort of like that song, but I mean, I don't care that much about
Oh,
music.
I hate that song. I actually really hate that song.
That is, that's actually not my... That's actually, like, that song is kind of overrated. Like, my favorite song by Journey is actually... Well, it would either have to be Separate Ways or else Any Way You Want It.
Yeah, I hate that one song. I guess I'm now canceled.
There's a lot of popular songs I don't... Well, to be fair, there's a lot of popular songs I don't like.
Yeah, anything that's
Like,
considered
for
pop,
example-
I hate it.
Like, I hate that song, Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. I really hate that.
Oh, that's one I do like, actually.
Oh man.
Not the words, but I get so caught up in that tune. It's so catchy. And then there's Weird Al Yankovic. You know who he is, right?
I haven't really listened to much of his music, but I know about him because I've heard of him before.
Yeah, you should listen to his parody of that. It's first up, it's done on the accordion, so that makes it already more hilarious. And he called it Another One Rides the Bus.
Yeah. Maybe I should. I'm interested. I'll have to check out Weird Al's music sometime.
Oh, I love Weird Al Yankovic. He is so hilarious. He's done some... He doesn't do very many originals. He's done a few, but he doesn't do many of them. He mostly does parodies of popular music, and he just makes them sound so funny. Like, his first two songs were like Michael Jackson songs. Like, he did a parody of Beat It. He changed it to Eat It. And then... I don't know if this word is going to have to get censored. It's not it shouldn't be offensive, but then again, some people are sensitive to it. He did a parody of Michael Jackson's Bad to Fat.
Hmm.
And the music video is absolutely hilarious.
I've never heard that song. I've never heard that song Bad by Michael Jackson.
Have you watched Despicable Me 3?
Oh, that's when. Oh, it's in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the...
Yeah,
it's the song during Balthazar's Diamond
pop
Heist
music sound.
at the beginning.
Yeah, a lot of 80s pop music just sounds the same to me to the point where I'm not fond of a lot of it.
Yeah, Weird Al is hilarious. Back when my school had talent shows, that was always what I did. I always did one of Weird Al's parodies. It's so funny.
That was pretty... Yeah, song pair. Have you ever considered doing song parodies of your own?
The problem is the legality issues and such. I have no clue how to get around all that stuff, and unfortunately, sometimes when you search things on the internet, it's very self-explanatory. But when it comes to legality, yeah, the internet's not really much help. I would love to do parodies,
maybe
though.
Search GPT will be better with that.
Yeah. Yeah, right. But I'd love to do parodies. It's just I'm always concerned about the legality because YouTube is very snotty when it comes to copyright on music.
I mean, especially with the fact, like, I don't know, like, I don't understand. Like, I'm surprised Samtime can manage to get away with some of his song parodies.
Yep. Anywho. Oh, is that
Shall I
everything
wrap
on the
up the
list?
show now?
Oh, that is everything
Yeah.
on the list.
That's why I never tried to get us back on topic.
I should have noticed that. Goodness gracious, it is so hot in here. That fan's not working hard enough.
Maybe you could do a parody of Hot in Here, that annoying song by Nelly.
I know a different Hot in Here song, actually. It's by Rascal Flatts. I love
Oh,
Rascal
that's a good
Flatts.
point, but
I mean, I'm trying to think of
Yeah,
any other
I've never really
updates, but
I haven't really listened to Rascal Flatts much either.
Oh, I was heartbroken when I heard their band had broken up a couple of years ago. They were the best.
I understand.
Never heard a trio better than them. Other than that,
All right, well,
the only other thing
as always,
the only other life thing I can think of that people might find interesting is my church got a new organ.
well,
It's actually an
as always,
it's actually
thank
an
you
interesting
all for
instrument,
watching.
though, but yeah, you know what? Let's wrap it up anyways. I'm too hot. I need to go to the basement. Start wrapping it up. I'll shut up.
As always, I'm Teddy Magger from the iTunes Fanboy.
My name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And as always, we are saying goodbye for now, and we hope to see you next time when Alpha will be cooler. And as always,
Alrighty.
remember to not embrace your artificial intelligence, and peace out.
Bye bye. I'm going to where it's colder. Just adding a little effect. Alright. Stop recording.